Kevin was a genius programmer and the founder of the world's largest gaming company. One day, he excitedly told his son that he had created an electronic network world, a virtual world that would change human life forever. But after that day, Kevin vanished as if he had evaporated from the world. No one had any news of him, and no one knew where he had gone. As a result, his young son, Sam, naturally inherited his legacy. Of course, it was more of a nominal inheritance. Since Sam had no real say in the company, everything was decided by the board of directors. Thus, he spent the next 20 years in frustration, riding his father's old motorcycle aimlessly every day. He lived a carefree single life in a rundown beachside villa. Then, one day, his father's old partner suddenly visited. He took out a pager and showed that he had received a message from Kevin. The message came from the arcade where Kevin once worked, and he wanted Sam to come with him to check it out. Sam refused, wondering why his father would abandon him for 20 years if he was still alive. But his partner didn't think so. 20 years ago, Kevin had asked him to keep the pager safe for emergencies. Upon hearing this, Sam became a little convinced, although he kept insisting that his partner leave. Deep down, he was already eager to visit the arcade and investigate. As soon as his partner left, Sam immediately hopped on his bike and rushed to the arcade. When he entered, everything felt familiar, but this was not the time for nostalgia. He walked to the fuse box, immediately flipped the switch, and began inspecting the arcade. However, after searching the whole hall, he found nothing unusual. He then went to the office on the second floor but still found nothing. In frustration, he almost gave up. Just as he was heading downstairs, he unexpectedly spotted a game machine in the corner. It was the first game his father had introduced him to as a child, his favorite motorcycle game. Remembering this, he eagerly took out a coin to play, but it dropped to the floor. The important thing was that there was a deep scratch on the floor. With curiosity, he tried to push the game machine. To his shock, it revealed a secret door behind it. He immediately entered and found a long secret passage leading to the basement. At the end of the basement, there was a hidden room. When he opened the door, he was greeted by the place where his father had once worked. Inside were various devices, all tools his father had used to develop games. On the wall was a conspicuous map, clearly labeled Electronic Network World. Was this the virtual world his father had mentioned when Sam was a child? Had his father actually succeeded in creating it? Curious, he walked up to an old computer that was still running after 20 years. Without hesitation, he sat down and began to operate it. Soon, a prompt appeared asking if he wanted to activate the laser beam. Without thinking, he selected yes, and disaster struck. Behind him, the laser cannons slowly powered up, and with a brilliant flash of light, he was instantly transported into another world. Everything around him changed in an instant, and he was terrified. Realizing something was terribly wrong, he tried to run, but it was already too late. At that moment, he had entered the electronic network world, a virtual world built through programming. He couldn't believe his eyes, thinking it might be an illusion, but the next second, a spaceship appeared and spotted him. The spaceship slowly landed in front of him, giving him no chance to escape before capturing him. It was a recognizer spaceship, specifically designed to monitor, capture, and identify program viruses and unknown entities. Without an identity tag, Sam was unable to escape and was captured. Only then did Sam realize that everything was real. His father had indeed built the electronic network world. Eager to find his father, Sam immediately asked the people around him if they knew Kevin. However, the young man wasn't interested in answering and advised Sam to keep quiet if he wanted to survive. Meanwhile, another person was so scared he went insane, realizing how perilous the situation was. At that moment, Sam felt that he was truly in a life or death situation. Soon, he was brought to the capital of the electronic network world, the city of creation. The black guards examined each person, selecting the lucky ones to be transformed into part of the electronic network world. The unlucky ones were sent to the gladiator arena to fight in life and death battles for the entertainment of the network's inhabitants. Sam, unfortunately, was one of the unlucky ones. At first, Sam didn't realize the gravity of the situation until one person jumped into a turbine, preferring death to participating in the game. Only then did he realize the seriousness of it. He quickly begged for mercy, explaining that his father was Kevin, but it was no use. The guards immediately fixed him in an elevator and sent him to the arena. As preparations were underway, four beautiful women appeared and surrounded him, removing his clothes without saying a word. They dressed him in a battle suit and were about to send him to the arena. Things were looking grim, so Sam quickly asked what he was supposed to do. The woman told him to survive. Before he knew it, He was in the gladiator arena. A thrilling battle for survival had begun. Sam was horrified to discover that if he was hit by a disc, he would instantly disintegrate. To survive, he quickly picked up a disc and fought back, but being new to this world, he was no match for his opponent. The opponent skillfully dodged and struck, shattering the glass under Sam's feet. Sam nearly fell off the arena, certain to be crushed. Before he could recover, his opponent launched another lethal attack, with no room for mercy. But Sam didn't panic. When his opponent launched a final deadly strike, Sam had an idea. He smashed the glass under his feet, narrowly escaping and winning the fight. The opponent fell off the arena and shattered into pieces, an impressive victory. Sam demanded to be let go, but it was impossible. Before he could catch his breath, a second opponent appeared, and he realized this battle would never end. In a desperate move, he chose to escape. He managed to slip through a gap and escape the arena, but that didn't mean he was free. He hadn't escaped the arena, and instead, he attracted the attention of the main program, CLU. CLU is the most powerful program in the electronic network world and the ruler of Creation City. Here, he doesn't allow anyone to break the rules. For this reason, he immediately arranges for the strongest warrior in the network world to step in. As the strongest game player in the electronic network world, the warrior has never been defeated from ancient times to the present, and Sam, clearly unaware of the warrior's strength, swings a disc and hurls it at his opponent. The result was disastrous. His opponent skillfully dodges and lands a surprise attack, appearing right in front of Sam and immediately knocking him to the ground. At that life-threatening moment, something unexpected happens. Sam's blood falls to the ground. Only humans bleed. How could there be a human in the electronic network world? This draws the attention of the main program, CLU. To figure out what's going on, CLU immediately requests to meet with Sam. However, what Sam sees in front of him leaves him dumbfounded. CLU is actually his father, who has been missing for 20 years. His father still looks as young as ever, and Sam is overjoyed. Finally, he has found his father. He eagerly asks his father to return with him, but that's impossible, because CLU is not his father. CLU is merely a program created in his father's image. CLU grabs Sam's identity disk and keeps checking how he entered, but finds no valuable information. Not getting what he wants, CLU reveals his true nature and orders Sam to be restrained. It's at this moment that Sam realizes CLU is not his father, but it's already too late. In the blink of an eye, he's taken back to the gladiatorial arena. This time, however, his opponent is CLU. As the ruler of the electronic network world, CLU intends to have a deathmatch with Sam to prove to the residents of the electronic network world that humans can be defeated. For maximum effect, CLU has chosen the ultimate racing competition, a race that is the most dangerous and popular in the electronic network world. Each team consists of 5 players, each riding neon motorcycles. This is no ordinary race. It's a race where lives are on the line, and one mistake could result in instant death. In the blink of an eye, Sam's team has already lost 3 members. Realizing the situation is dire, Sam quickly convinces his remaining teammate to join forces to survive. The teammate doesn't care whether Sam is human. Nodding in agreement, together, they fight back. One distracts the enemy while the other attacks unexpectedly. They easily defeat 3 opponents. However, disaster strikes during the 4th fight. The teammate accidentally crashes into scattered motorcycle parts and flips over, watching his teammate fly several meters away. Sam rushes to help. Just at that critical moment, CLU suddenly appears and instantly obliterates Sam's teammate. Watching one teammate after another fall, Sam can no longer hold back. He immediately turns around and charges towards CLU, determined to fight to the death. But this is essentially a death sentence. CLU pulls out a disc and effortlessly destroys Sam's motorcycle. Without a motorcycle, Sam is nothing more than prey on the chopping block. Just as Sam's life is hanging by a thread, a miracle happens. A neon race car suddenly crashes into the arena and destroys CLU's motorcycle. Taking advantage of CLU's moment of surprise, the driver immediately tells Sam to get in the car. Not knowing who the person is, Sam has no choice but to obey and jump in. They successfully destroy the arena wall and escape. This is the outer realm of the electronic network world, where CLU's control is limited, and he dares not enter. But that's not the main point. The person who helped Sam is a beautiful, bold warrior with thick eyebrows and big eyes. Sam asks her who she is. Cora tells him to follow her, and he will understand in time. Together, they travel over mountains and through valleys. After an unknown amount of time, they finally enter a cave. Inside the cave lives an old man, who turns out to be none other than Sam's father, Kevin. After 20 years, the two embrace and cry, but now is not the time to talk about this. Kevin's main concern is how Sam got here. Sam honestly answers that he received a message from his father and followed it here. Hearing this, Kevin feels something is wrong. He never sent any message clearly. CLU is behind this, but why would CLU do this? It turns out that over 20 years ago, Kevin accidentally discovered the electronic network world. He planned to create a perfect world here, following human ways of life, to help humanity evolve. For this purpose, he created CLU to help him build that perfect world. He also created another program, the Bed, to protect humanity. However, one day something strange happened in the electronic network world. Another program was naturally generated. They were not perfect, but they were full of wisdom. The key thing was that they had evolved naturally. Kevin called them ISO. The appearance of ISO gave Kevin a bold idea. He took them in, planning to study them to help humanity overcome disease. But this move triggered CLU's dissatisfaction, because CLU's mission was to build a perfect world, and ISO was imperfect. So, CLU decided to betray Kevin. Fortunately, someone intervened at a critical moment, allowing Kevin to escape. But what Kevin didn't expect was that he was trapped here because CLU controlled the entrance. The entrance could only be opened from the outside, and once the time passed, they could not escape. Hearing this, Sam suddenly has a bold idea. He points to the entrance in the distance and says that when he came in, he opened the entrance, they can escape through it. But his father strongly rejects the idea, because this is exactly what CLU wants. If they go to the entrance, CLU will take his identity disk, and his identity disk is the key to leaving. If CLU gets it, he will go to the human world. At that point, it would be unimaginable for humanity, as CLU cannot afford even the smallest flaw, while humans are full of imperfections. At that time, CLU will definitely find a way to exterminate humanity, just like how he exterminated the ISO. In the past, to create a perfect world, CLU ruthlessly killed all the ISO, and Quora was the only surviving ISO. But Sam didn't want to be trapped here forever like his father. So, he discussed with Quora to secretly help him escape, and then modify the program from the outside to eliminate CLU. At first, Quora refused, but when she heard that Sam wanted to take her out, she agreed to help. She gave Sam a token and told him to find someone named Zeus. Zeus had once helped the ISO and was a very reliable person. The key was that Zeus knew how to help anyone reach the entrance. Hearing this, Sam immediately rode his father's glowing motorcycle and rushed into the city. Not long after, his father realized Sam was missing and sensed something was wrong. He knew that things had changed and there was no program left that could be trusted. Helpless, his father had no choice but to risk going out to save his son. As expected, Zeus was no longer the loyal program to humanity. After learning of Sam's intentions, Zeus immediately summoned his guards to arrest Sam. Sam realized something was wrong and immediately ran away. At the same time, Quora arrived just in time, and a fight broke out between the two sides. But with the enemy's overwhelming numbers, they were no match and soon found themselves at a disadvantage. To make matters worse, Quora's arm was broken. At this critical moment, Sam's father arrived in time. As the creator of the network world, he merely waved his hand, and the entire area plunged into darkness. Taking advantage of the enemy's momentary confusion, they decisively fled. But unfortunately, just as they were about to enter the elevator, the enemy managed to grab his father's disc. Additionally, the enemy blew up the elevator, causing them to plummet vertically, and they were about to be crushed to pieces. In this urgent moment, they quickly operated the elevator, managing to stop it just 1 second before it crashed. Afterward, Sam regretted it deeply due to his ignorance. Not only did Quora get injured, but he also lost his father's identity disk. But at this point, there was no use regretting. The immediate priority was to find a way to save the situation. After thinking for a moment, his father finally decided to reach the entrance before CLU and eliminate CLU from the outside. Without further delay, they immediately jumped onto the solar spaceship and headed straight for the entrance. The solar spaceship was a transport vehicle for programs and cargo, conveniently passing near the entrance. During this time, his father used code therapy to find and repair Quora's damaged code. With this, Quora was reborn, and this was the gift his father wanted to give to humanity. He wanted to use the ISO research to help humans eliminate diseases. However, leaving was not that simple, as the solar spaceship's orbit had already been modified. Kevin was horrified when he discovered a massive spaceship docked ahead of them on the cargo ship. Normally, this shouldn't be here. To understand what was going on, they quickly hid and observed. To their shock, the cargo ship was filled with motionless programs, clearly modified. But what were they being transported here for? Upon closer inspection, they found that CLU was turning them into an army. CLU passionately declared that he wanted to take them all to Earth to transform it into a perfect world. Seeing this, they immediately decided to stop CLU. However, security was tight, and escaping wouldn't be easy. Thus, Quora had to make a difficult choice. She handed her identity disk to Kevin and then decisively ran out, successfully attracting the guards' attention. This allowed them to successfully enter the spaceship. Without wasting time, they split up to act. Sam was responsible for retrieving the entrance key to stop CLU. While Kevin searched for transportation, Sam successfully infiltrated the control room. When the guards saw him, they immediately tried to arrest him. But at this point, Sam was no longer the same. He instantly neutralized the guards with ease and successfully retrieved the key. At the same time, by coincidence, Quora was also captured and brought here, so Sam decided to take her with him. He launched a powerful attack on the guards. Quora, seeing this, skillfully cooperated and knocked the guards down with one kick. Without hesitation, the two of them leapt onto the flight deck, where Kevin had been waiting for them. Together, they managed to successfully escape in the spaceship. However, the story was not over. Upon hearing the news, CLU was furious. He killed the office secretary and then led his elite forces to retrieve the key. Sam immediately opened fire to intercept, and in the blink of an eye, they managed to take down one of them. Next, Quora used her superior driving skills to lead them through a narrow path in the rocks, taking down another enemy. In this back and forth, they had reduced the enemy to just 3. To escape the enemies quickly, Quora floored the accelerator and shot straight into the sky, with the enemy close behind. But the spaceship ran out of power and the engine stalled. The enemy's spaceship then lost power and began to plummet. Taking advantage of this, they quickly followed behind and took down another enemy. At that moment, they were hit by a barrage of gunfire from the remaining enemies. Their cannon was damaged and couldn't fire, but the real surprise came when Sam saw the enemy. It was Tron. At this point, Kevin couldn't help but ask, why did Tron become like this? And that very question successfully awakened Tron. After all, Tron's original purpose was to protect humanity. With this, Tron turned his weapon on CLU and successfully helped them escape danger. Afterward, they piloted the spaceship straight toward the entrance. However, what they didn't know was that CLU wasn't dead. He had a backup spaceship. Without delay, CLU immediately took off in his spaceship, heading for the entrance at full speed. When they arrived at the entrance, CLU was already waiting for them. Kevin had anticipated this. He knew CLU wouldn't die so easily. So, Kevin stepped forward and tried to persuade CLU, saying that it was all his fault. He shouldn't have let CLU create a perfect world, because perfection was already around them, right in front of their eyes. They just couldn't see it. He had been too young to understand before, but now he did, and he hoped CLU could understand too. But to his surprise, CLU couldn't understand at all. CLU's mission was only to create a perfect world. With that, he kicked Kevin and demanded that he pay the price for his betrayal. Seeing his father being beaten, Sam immediately tried to attack CLU, but he was no match for him. In an instant, he was knocked down. Quora saw this and rushed to help, but it was clear they were no match for CLU. Kevin, realizing this, had already prepared for it. He promised to give the key to CLU. Hearing this, CLU didn't care about the two of them. He immediately moved toward Kevin to take the key, unaware that it was impossible. Somehow, Kevin had swapped the key, and the real key was in Quora's hands. Seeing this, CLU was almost driven mad with rage. Without caring about his own life, he leaped toward the exit to grab the key back, but it was too late. Under his father's repeated urging, Sam reluctantly activated the key, successfully opening the entrance. CLU saw this and ran towards it. But don't forget, Kevin was the creator of the system. Everything here was under his control. Kevin secretly activated the clearing mode with both hands, and a wave of energy spread out, instantly pulling everything around them. CLU was frozen in place, unable to move. As Kevin gradually exerted more power, CLU collided with him, ultimately creating a massive wave of energy that caused the network world to be destroyed. Sam and Quora successfully escaped danger and went on to live a happy life together.